I'd like to dedicate tonight's storytelling to my beautiful mother. May she forever rest in peace. Thank you. So I was about 5 or 6 years old, and I was sitting in the kitchen with my mom, and I was trying to open a jar of pickles, and I couldn't do it. It was too hard. My hands were too small. And my mom was sitting there at the table, drinking her coffee and doing her crossword. And I said, "Mommy, can you open this?" And she looked up from her crossword and in her crisp Brooklyn accent said, "Did you try to open it?" "Yes, Mommy, I did, but I can't do it. It's too hard." "Well, I guess if you can't open it, you can't have it." And she went right back to her crossword. Now, I know that probably seems like a mean thing to do to your kid. Well, that's what I thought, too. I sat there huffing and puffing and pouting, arms crossed. But I knew with my mom, that wasn't going to get me anywhere. So I kept at that top, and I tried with all my might until I heard that familiar pop of the seal breaking. "Mommy, I got it open!" I was so excited. "That's right. I knew you could if you just tried harder." I sat there eating my pickle, feeling so proud of myself. Unbeknownst to me, that jar of pickles was not going to be the last of my hurdles. You see, in 1970s, my parents thought that Long Island was getting too crowded for them. They wanted something simpler. So they moved me to a tiny, one traffic light, one store, very rural town in the middle of upstate New York called Chateaugay. Now, at first, we had all the typical amenities of a colonial home, all the 1970s modern things and lots of rooms. And then my dad decided that he was going to build us a little log cabin in the middle of the woods on our 33 acres of property. I was 8. Our new home had no running water, no electricity. We used a well for our water supply. We had a wood stove for heat and cooking. And we used lanterns and candles for lighting. This way of life meant no telephone, no Pac-Man, Ms. Pac-Man or Pac-Man, no Michael Jackson or Madonna on the MTV. I was Laura fucking Ingalls. Not 1879 Laura Ingalls, but 1979 Laura fucking Ingalls. But this was my parents' dream. They wanted to grow their own vegetables and raise their own livestock and live off the land. Did anyone ask me if that was my dream? Is this how I wanted to spend my formative years? Well, no. But I was 8. What did I know? I thought this is going to be fun. And it was. Until I realized that we were going to need water for cleaning and showering and cooking, which meant I, as my 8-year-old self, had to go outside to the well and pull up 2 5-gallon buckets of water, carry them up the hill to our house and bring them in, where we would pour them into big pots on the stove and heat it. I had to lug armloads of wood from the woodshed to our home so we would have heat and hot water. And this was rain, sleet, snow, shine, it didn't matter. I had to go outside and do these things. And this was all before school. When I came home from school, I had to do it all over again. And my parents, to my parents, this was my homework. So it didn't matter that I had other things, I had school to worry about. I had to do this as my homework. It was constant work and it was hard. I had to get up early and I had to go to bed early. And there was no, I don't feel like it today, or I'm just too tired. Now, are you thinking, God, are her parents like some crazy 1960s hippie people? Yes, of course, that's what and is this some epic tale of child labor? Did she escape from a bunker? No. This is just what me and my parents had to do together as a team to make our atypical home run. And, my parents truly loved me. I felt that as a child. I have many fond memories of us sitting around the table laughing, telling stories, singing songs, playing board games. And it was this kind of life that made me appreciate the little things. I would cherish the things that I had and the gifts that I received. I remember thinking, if this Etch-a-Sketch breaks or gets lost, is that it? Will I ever have another one? Thank God I got to go to public school 5 days a week. But that was the height of my normalcy, because school posed its own problems. I was bullied on a daily basis because of how we lived. We were different. I was the weird kid. Kids would say things to me like, hey, shut the door. What, do you live in a barn? Oh, that's right, you do. They would make fun of my clothes, and I would wear braids in my hair, and all the boys would call me Rat Tail. But because my parents were focused on the life that they chose to make work, they had no time for bullshit. No time to dissect why their daughter was mad or sad or what her hormones were going to cause that day. It didn't matter that I'd come home horrified. Why can't we at least have a phone like everybody else? That kind of drama had no place at our table. And it was in these moments that I realized this is how we live. This isn't going to change. My parents are not changing this. So if I wanted to change anything about my life, I had to make things happen. And there was that pickle jar and the wise words of my mother dancing around in my head. If you can't open it, you can't have it. So I knew I desperately wanted to have friends at school. So I begged my parents to let me join the soccer team in junior high, and they let me. And I made 3 friends. And then in high school, I tried out for the cheering team. Not only did I make the team, but I made more friends. The popular girls were starting to finally see the real me. They were my friends. Boys were talking to me and taking an interest. Too bad they couldn't call me up and ask me out on a date because I didn't have a phone. I remember thinking, was this my dad's plan all along? Is this some giant ruse? I know how to get those boys from asking my daughter out. So after 9 long years of this, at 17, I realized I didn't want to live on the farm anymore. I really needed to go out into the world and live my dreams and find things that were important to me. So I wanted to go to college, and guess who had to pay for that? Then I wanted to go to law school. It was expensive. It was in New York City. Again, all on me. But there I was, alone in a big city, paying my way and opening jars. And in my 30s, I had always dreamed of doing some physical challenge that would give back as a charity. So I got on my bicycle and I rode 350 miles from Jones Beach to Lake Placid over 5 days, and I raised $10,000 for AIDS research. As a little girl, I also dreamed about singing on stage for people and entertaining, and so I got up the guts to audition for a rock cover band, and today I am the lead singer in my own rock band, Graffiti Rose. I also had a dream that I always wanted to write a book and be a published author. Come see me after the show. I'll tell you where you can get it. Now, I'm telling you these things not at all trying to tell you that there weren't doors slammed in my face, and there were tons of challenges, especially growing up the way that I did. But like that pickle jar, I kept trying. And in the wise words of my mother, in that Brooklyn accent, Tara, if you can't open it, you can't have it. So open your heart and open your mind and open your faith. Open that big bad jar of life and eat it up.